challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the content. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God. On our
access to our money in the bank. There are POS operators. She said we now there is 1,000 to collect the money. We are here.
I've always said there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the content. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
to condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God. On our
access to our money in the bank. There are POS operators. She said we now there is 1,000 to collect the money. We are here.
I've always said there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the content. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
to condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God. On our
access to our money in the bank. There are POS operators. She said we now there is 1,000 to collect the money. We are here.
I've always said there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the content. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
to condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God. On our
access to our money in the bank. There are POS operators. She said we now there is 1,000 to collect the money. We are here.
I've always said there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the content. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
to condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God. On our
access to our money in the bank. There are POS operators. She said we now there is 1,000 to collect the money. We are here.
I've always said there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the content. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
to condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God. On our
access to our money in the bank. There are POS operators. She said we now there is 1,000 to collect the money. We are here.
I've always said there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the content. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
to condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God. On our
access to our money in the She said, $3,000 is one time to collect $3,000. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the top thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Good morning and welcome to Open Conversation on Atlantic Television Network. Open Conversation is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impacts to the society. Today on Open Conversation, we'll look at the stories. First, Abia State. Kano lacks capacity to challenge OT, Chinasa says. And then on PDP convention, Fintri says that qualified aspirants are free to test their popularity. On alleged forged certificate, ADC slams Tinubu for retaining Minister Naji. And on 2027 elections, Soludo, Arebeshola, Chidoka, and others urge federal government to push for electoral reforms. And then on 2027, Atiku backs mandatory electronic transmission of results. Still on 2027, court is asked to bar Goodluck Jonathan from the presidential race. We are open for sponsorship of the program, advert placements, news, events coverage, and commercials. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Also watch us on Avot TV, Niger TV, and a Fastech TV platform. You can connect with us on our ATN socials by subscribing, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Do not go away.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money, we prove in the bank. There are POS
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Conversation this morning is Nze O Nze. Nze O Nze is a regular on Open Conversation. I mean, he's a family now. He's a member of Open Conversation family. He's a regular on Open Conversation. He also prides himself as advocate of the masses. Good morning, Nze, and welcome.
Good morning, Laurentia. Good morning, Nigerians.
And then on to the story. Abia State liaison officer at the National Assembly, Ihani Chinasa, has warned Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kanu, against attacking Governor Alex Oti, saying he lacks the political weight and track record to challenge the governor in 2027. Chinasa, who hails from the same area as Kalu, criticized him for using President Bola Tinubu's recent visit to Abia as an avenue to undermine Oti. During the event, Carlo had claimed that the state's progress was due to federal funding and credited the president rather than the governor for ongoing development. Dismissing Carlo's remarks as misleading, Chinasa said Oti's achievements speak for themselves and deserve commendation. He urged the deputy speaker to stop needless attacks and focus on using his position to improve the lives of Abia people instead of engaging in political grandstanding. Nze, what do you make of this story?
I felt so bad when I heard the statement of Benjamin Carlo. You know, sometime last year, Ben actually came up to make very insulting and embarrassing statement to himself against the governor of Abia State. And coming back again now to show to us that he's interested in contesting 2027 governorship election against Oti, you know. And I believe that's just what is driving all this push. But, you know, Carlos' negative remarks about Oti is like telling a fine girl, no, see how pointed your nose is. So the more he speaks bad of Oti, the more he makes people to look deeper into the achievements of Oti. Because Abia State was so dirty that the little cleanness you will see will speak volume of whoever makes it possible. Saying that it was the president's contribution to Abia that is making, the resources he's releasing to Abia that is making Abia tribe. Yes, resources were released to Abia when Obasanjo was in power, and Ojus Okalo at least managed it. Resources were released when Yaradua was in power, and TLG used it. Resources were released when Buhari was in power, and Ipazo used it. And one of the legacy project of Ipazo is the swinging bridge. Along by Osisioma, yes, the swinging bridge.
People are scared to climb.
Yes, sometimes you see a lot of people taking the downside.
People really climb it.
I almost lost control on that bridge. I was just driving, you know, with the mind that I was on a very clear place. The next thing, the vehicle flew up. I was managing myself. Why the thing was...
You were on speed. It wasn't
yes.
It wasn't the bridge. It was your speed.
No. Why wouldn't I be on speed lane? Just tell me why I would not be on speed lane.
The bridge is not that long for you to be on that kind of speed.
No. This bridge, the truth is that if you are driving at 100 or 120, coming from Port Harcourt, that's along that Abar, the same 120 you used to cross the bridge. Is that the only bridge we have seen? But however,
it's the first bridge in Abia State.
That's the one in Abia, but I don't reside in Abia. I use bridges other places. So if that's why I call it a landmark achievement of Okezi Ipazu. And if I may...
The bridge took 8 years, by the way.
And it took 8 years to complete. Whereas former governor of Rivers State, within his 8 years period, built over 12 bridges.
Is that bridge up to 200 kilometers, 200 meters? That's
200 meters, the Osisioma Bridge?
Yes.
It should be around 200 meters by my calculation. Though I didn't measure. But looking at what Benjamin Carlo is saying against Oti, it's just like an embarrassment to his person. And you know why he's saying that? Even non-Igbo actors, we know that this one is not a fellow to trust. Because if you can see white where people have lived for many years without sighting white, and suddenly someone brought white, and you saw it, you say, how can this be white? This thing is red. Other people who are working with you will look at you somehow again if you are putting a dark goggle. And if truly you are not putting a dark goggle and you are calling white red, it means you have problem with your sight. So to me, the position Kalu is holding today, I believe he's holding it for the Southeast. The position of Deputy Speaker, he's holding it for the Southeast. And his attacks on Oti, to me, is attack on the people of Southeast. Not just Abia State. Benjamin Kalu on attack on Alex Oti. He said, because we all know that Abia State about precisely.
One would say he's playing the role of opposition.
No. Even when you are playing the role of opposition, you should be objective in what you are doing.
Well, he did not exactly say that Oti is not working. What his focus in that particular meeting was according to him, the developmental strides of the Tinubu-led administration in Southeast. When he was speaking, he said that, when he was trying to tell Abians on why they should vote for Tinubu in 2027, he said that the president, of course, has promised, promise, emphasis on the word promise, has promised to, create a seaport to create a seaport in Southeast. So now that is a promise. The question one would be asking would be, Benjamin Kanu is the Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives. And I have full understanding that there is something called constituency project. One would say as this Deputy Speaker of House of Rep and also representing a constituency, what exactly has Benjamin Kanu done for the people in his constituency? There is a saying in Igbo land that they usually say, charity begins at home. If you're going to look beautiful, you start from your home. Your home must be fine before the world will even begin to see how fine. But from inside, your beauty should start from inside. So the question would be, if you say that Benjamin Kanu is targeting governorship position in 2027, what has he placed on ground that one can look at and say, okay, even within his constituency, these are the tangible things that we can hold on to say, okay, this guy, if he could do this with the position he has, probably he's going to do more. That is the first question. Second question, what federal project has Benjamin Kanu been able to attract to Abia State with respect to the position of influence that he wields at the National Assembly? What federal project has he been able to drag down that will give him the locus to say, okay, I can go head-to-head or toe-to-toe with the current Abia State governor?
Lawrence, I was actually coming to these areas when you interjected. Thank you very much for bringing these 2 points. When you said that he was actually speaking, he didn't say that OT is not working, but he was trying to showcase what Mr. President is doing for people of Southeast.
Has he done?
He said it was a promise. It was a promise.
Seaport.
Yeah, it was a promise. And the truth is that you don't do anybody good specifically when it comes to developing a place. If you don't do it, the people will leave. They have been living, they have been surviving, they will leave. But you did not develop your society when you had power to do so. So to me, it will be a minus to that particular person. So if Mr. President builds a seaport in Southeast, it's a plus to his government. And it will be recorded for him. Though the people of Southeast will benefit it. But even without it, is Port Harcourt port had not been kept moribund for long? With just little trivial transactions going on there.
On airport.
On airport, yes. That's Port Harcourt, the port in River State now. That's supposed to have helped Southeast. But in spite of that, the Southeasterners...
Don't forget Warri.
He was working.
Don't forget Anambra State.
Is he working? Is he working? That's the
question. We have Atlantic flowing through.
Yet, all these things are not working. Yet, the people of Southeast are making, in fact, they're taking it to the next level.
And it's now forcing, it's now forcing Southeasterners to go to Lagos to live in order to
assess their goods that they bring from outside Nigeria.
And now your guess is as good as mine. What is even happening to
those ones don't go there because it is civil persecution. We don't want to go there.
Just continue.
We hold Benjamin Kalu responsible for speaking in such a manner against Oti, who has come to work. Because I've not had Kanu criticize the past governments of his state that never did anything good. Now, number two, just like the question you asked, Benjamin Kanu is a principal officer in National Assembly. He's a principal officer in National Assembly on behalf of Southeast. What developmental project has he brought to Southeast? What developmental project has he brought to Abia State, his state of origin? What developmental project has he brought to his constituency? I think that is a Hafia constituency, something like that. What developmental project has he brought? So what locus does he has to speak again? That's why I told you that his Malayan of Oti is like telling a beautiful girl, don't you know, stupid girl, don't you see how pointed your nose is? That is just what it is. And he's making caricature of himself. Which I am thinking that, to an extent, there's a point to which he will speak, will begin to raise a vanguard against him in the National Assembly, that he leave that office, because he's holding it in trust for us, the people of Southeast. If he cannot stand for the truth, simply because he has an ambition, you said he's playing opposition. Opposition on how? On what? Opposition on when you're supposed to play opposition, you didn't play opposition. It's now. If you want to prove that you really want to work, you want to take Otis' job from him, start from your constituency. Just as you rightly say that charity begins at home. You don't get better outside, and in the house you are stinking. So begin at home. Turn your constituency to Abriba is a place under your constituency, and you know how enterprising people of Abriba are. You know how enterprising people of Ohafia are. You know how people of Bend and all this. You know how enterprising your people. To what extent have you showcased their products? To what extent you are doing not, and you are looking at a man who, in fact, to me, I don't want to be emotional about Carlos' actions, but however, it's an advice to him that he should please bury his hatchet and let Abia State governor, the people's governor, the performing governor, if not number one or number two, because when you count among the best performing governors in Nigeria from 2023 till now, if Oti is not number one, he will be number two. And I think that we are getting these best performing governors by my own rating. Excuse me. Using my own yardstick to measure. I think the best performing governors, the number one and number two, seem to come from Southeast.
Let's quickly,
because when you look at Enugu, you look at Abia, these two governors are doing marvelously well. Let's
quickly look at the particular statements Oti made that has been, generating a lot of conversations. He said that Oti's performance is not enough, and vows that APC will take over Abia in 2027. Now, Abia State's government also has, clapped back, and they told him, keep your ambition till the appropriate time. Oti himself has responded, telling him, seek help. Stop disgracing yourself. And then you recall that while making his statement, Benjamin Kalu also alleged that federal government funding to Abia State was to the tune of 38 billion naira monthly. And Oti had to come and correct that. And Oti told him it wasn't 38 billion naira, but instead it's 15 billion naira monthly allocation, right? And now, of course, his caseman, Chinasa, is the person that has told him that he lacks the capacity to challenge Oti in 2027. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives, Abia government also told him that he needs more tutorials than the microphone.
I think this is just, thank God that you haven't brought out these things while I was, trying to define the characters of the young man. You see the kind of allegations he is bringing.
Well, one would say misinformation. Not
is it really misinformation?
Allegation.
No. How can you call it misinformation?
It's misinformation
to somebody of that class?
Well, one would now ask, how much does Benjamin Kalu even know of the governance in his state? If he doesn't know that the monthly allocation to the state is 15 billion naira.
And he's calling it at 8
instead
billion.
of 38 billion naira. Probably hyping it up, amping it up so that one could say, okay,
the allocation is very high. That it does not correspond with OT's developmental strides.
OT is doing a lot. OT is doing a lot, much more than what the allocation is, if you're to look at it critically. It's not even a question of the allocation. However, it's a question of what OT has done in comparison to his predecessors. And one would say that probably OT is getting a lot of support base, OT is getting a lot of organic love, and, people are galvanizing naturally for him because, when people have been starved and malnourished for so long, and suddenly, yeah, no matter how that food is presented, it is seen as a relief. And whoever presented that food becomes a savior, right? This is what is going on in Abia State. So that is why I asked the question. What has Benjamin Kalu been able to draw into Abia State with regards to using federal influence? What has he been able to do at the, in Abia State? The question now is, anybody that wants to contest governorship against Alex Oti should come correct.
Sure.
The person should come prepared. The person should have a very, very long list of actionable points and philanthropic acts that he has done. Like, it should be written in stone and in gold. It should be uncontestable. I'm trying to figure out the politician in Abia State, Abia State as a whole. I'm trying to...
That can contest, that can challenge OT.
I'm trying to figure out the person. But 2027 in Abia State is still going to be interesting. Probably Benjamin Kalu might be riding on the wings of federal government. Federal might. However, Alex Oti, on the other hand, has the organic love of the people and power of incumbency.
Do you know that...
it was different when he was contesting, when he was just a mere contestant.
Yeah.
And now he's in power. He's in power. So...
I think that Oti's advice to Carlo is the best, that he needs more tutorial beyond the microphone. Because from the look of things, you also was right in your citing the fact that he is being misinformed. And that shows how shallow his mind is. As a person, I begin to wonder how he managed even to win the House of Reps, and also how the National Assembly was able to pinpoint him as a deputy speaker. Because somebody with such empty head, you can't say that. No, I'm coming. If you know the yes, okay, let me withdraw that. Let me withdraw that.
You can't call him an empty
Let
head.
me withdraw that. But I begin to wonder how person of that level, who has the media aids, research, he's supposed to have research department or group, few persons that does research for him, will come openly in the public before Mr. President and all the global media that were focused on him and said that Abia State was, his home state was collecting 38 billion from FAC, whereas it is 15 billion. I wonder, do you know the picture? That's why, when I use the word I use, actually, to safeguard the media, it's not right. But that is my view of him. And when you look at him talk, you begin to wonder, where is the brain? Where is the knowledge? Where is the exposure? Where is the exposure that sustains this man over time? Even as a member of Federal House of Reps, people that makes law for this country. And look at what OT is doing. You've looked at the stage, you see the performances of this man on stage, and you who know that you are ill prepared, you are challenging him that you will come and outperform him. How? Now, if you are depending on federal might, are you trying to tell us that you are ready to rig the election? You bring somebody who will write anything and submit. Even if you win the election through the electoral returning officer, do you think you will still win the election through the courts?
One would say politically, every state is very peculiar and dynamic. You know, having experienced what Abia State is experiencing right now, you know, one would say right now it will not be easy to rig elections in Abia State. It will not be easy. It's no longer business as usual. Now people have tested what governance can be and how it can affect their lives. And the fact that, recall that Alex Oti is a product of the massive votes of people who were tired of lack of leadership and lack of governance. They were already tired and they only revolted using their voter's card. Correct? Recall the Professor Nena, that refused, you know, to compromise the results of that election, and Alex Oti emerged. Now, it's no longer business as usual.
Yes.
Anybody that will want to even play politics with the votes and the mandate of people, it might not be business as usual in Abia State, because I do not think Abia people will want to sit back and see their votes being played politics with, knowing that this is their survival now on the line, and knowing that Alex Oti has another tenure to go and they need him to finish what he has started.
Yeah. That's why I'm telling you. Yeah, it's not going to be business as usual, but you know that die-hard politicians will always want people who never see good in the land.
The same politicians always say, you cannot rig where you're not popular.
No, you can rig where you are not popular. Forget what they say. You can rig where you are not popular. Forget what they say. Are we not in Nigeria? When we begin to cite the popularity of some of the people, okay, what is the popularity of Ben? What's the popularity of Ben in his constituency that he's standing out today as a rep member? But however, what I'm trying to say is that rigging an election in Abia State under Alex Oti is a suicidal mission. Do you know why? It is a suicidal mission because if anybody tries to play pranks or play game with people's votes in Abia State, I'm not saying criminals, I'm not saying thugs, but I'm saying that bishops, pastors, I mean, who else is a sane man I can call? This will be the people that will lead mob action against such people. I mean, in Abia State today. How can it be now? Can you just, at least as a normal person, I believe that Nigerians are listening to us, and Nigerians that are listening, just think it, how it will be that somebody will come to Abia State and rig election and give vote to somebody whom the people know, because we know our people. Forget that they appear on television and talk things they want to talk. Once they win one small election, you won't even be able to come close to their gates again. They will put a mud car around their fences and compound and scare people away. But before you become whatever you are becoming, there are people who know you down to your mother kitchen. And you are coming up, they already know your antecedents, and you are coming up to say that you have won election. How? Even when they didn't vote for you. They will lead a mob action against that person.
Now, talking about Abia State, I think it's time ATM periscopes more and investigates more on some of the things that the governor has been doing.
Very importantly, very importantly.
So that probably because, you know, a lot of people watching may not understand the lack of I'm trying to find the right word to explain the situation Abia State was in.
Unfunctional society.
Before Alex Oti came in. Let it not be like probably one is hyping the governor and all that. But I think that Nigeria, we are at a stage where when people are not doing right, call them out. When people are doing right, you also tell them they are doing right. Probably tomorrow, I'm going to bring on board one of the persons that, you know, they are handy in the airport that the governor is building in Abia State. I'll bring him on the show to, you know, ask him questions around that particular project, you know, and then weigh it vis-a-vis what the plans are, how long it's going to take, because these are the things that we use to hold the governor responsible at the end of his tenure, you know, check his performance and all of that. So we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll look at PDP. Fintiri is saying that only qualified aspirants are free to test their popularity in the coming convention, and then take a look at the crisis that is happening in PDP, and if of a truth this convention may even hold. Do not go away, we'll be right back.
And the hypocrites, which I
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Chairman of the People's Democratic Party 2025 National Convention Organizing Committee, Governor Amadu Fintiri of Adamawa State, has said all qualified persons will be free to contest at the party's forthcoming convention. Speaking at the inaugural meeting of the Protocol Subcommittee in Abuja, Fintiri assured members that the process would be transparent and inclusive. He stated that no aspirants who meet the screening requirements will be denied participation, adding that the delegate list will be published to ensure openness. According to him, the convention will serve as a test of popularity where the most credible and widely supported candidates will emerge victorious. Fintiri urged committee members to show commitment and integrity in delivering a successful and rancor-free convention in Ibadan. Subcommittee leaders, including Governors Caleb Mofwang and Toyin Balogun, affirmed that Oyo State is fully prepared to host the event, pledging a seamless and historic gathering for the PDP family nationwide. Zé, what do you make of this story?
I think it is a good one. It is a good one. Because one outstanding thing here is that there is no special candidate by the Convention Organizing Committee. If there is no special candidate by them and they are throwing all the elective offices open to the qualified candidates, then the next good thing is that the screening committee should do their work very well. Check their documents, check their lifestyles. Not just maybe even if somebody who is adjudged a criminal comes to, because he has money, he buys his way into elective position. So I believe that what they need to do is to carry on with this standard that is being set by the chairman of the National Convention Organizing Committee, and also making sure that the right people, the right personaires are brought into power, because PDP need to restructure. This convention, to me, is a deciding factor to PDP, because already we've seen the level of bastardization that happened in the PDP, and the crisis here and there, which you know is still ongoing. No one knows the stand of the secretary for now. But looking at the level PDP have been bastardized, I think being a political party that has held Nigerian power for about 16 years, they should be able to use this period to prepare themselves. Not really focusing on how to contest or combat power, you know, from the incumbent president, but taking time to do internal restructuring PDP and bringing PDP back to its original form, you know, the dream of the founding fathers, so that if they now have the right people in the right positions, it means that if they are coming out, whether I call it governorship elections or local government elections or even national elections, they will come out, you know, with a different mindset and different momentum. So Fintiri, I thank God, I like what Fintiri is doing for now. If he can stay put with it, it means that by the time they have formed a strong internal structure, they will be able to launch out with a stronger force to combat whichever political party that might be standing before them.
The issue now is, like you said, the National Convention, of course, is going to produce the national members of the National Working Committee moving forward, because it's going to be an elective national convention. Now, the National Convention Committee, this is their position, and they are making their plans, yes. However, the possibility of that National Convention holding also has to do with the National Working Committee. Now,
and the National Working Committee, they are not together now.
They are not together. Now, you see the two figureheads of the party at variance. at daggers drawn. Damagum will write a letter, and you see Anyanwu will write countering what Damagum has written. And Damagum will issue notice, Anyanwu will issue counter notice. And right now, INEC is wondering, who do we go with? State chapters are also wondering, who do we go with? Now, we now have Team Damagum and Team Anyanwu. Now, let's look at the possibility of this national convention holding. Your guess is as good as mine. How many times PDP NEC was postponed till, we later NEC meeting held. Now, how do we see this national convention holding? Considering that, look at now, I have with me PDP constitution, and for some strange reason, I always do not bring this up whenever, even though I've gone through the constitution. And I want to look at the possibility of this national convention holding with regards to what the constitution has provided, and the fact that right now, Damagum appears to be working without Anyanwu, and Senator Anyanwu, who is the national secretary, is insisting that he must be a co-signatory in whatever communication that is leaving the party, right? And now, the Constitution, PDP Constitution, Chapter 5, Powers and Functions of Officers, says in Section 35, subsection 1, that there shall be a national chairman who shall be the chief executive of the party, and the function shall be A, summon or preside over the meetings of the National Executive Committee, the National Caucus, or the National Working Committee of the party. Preside over the National Convention. Now, for the national chairman, his duty here is to preside over the National Convention, and he shall also summon this convention. Now, let's go to the National Secretary, just to be clear. Section 36, Chapter 5, Section 36, 1 says, there shall be a National Secretary who shall be the Chief Administrative and Accounting Officer, underscore Chief Administrative Officer of the party, whose function shall be to let's go down to B and C, conduct or direct the conduct of the correspondences of the party and cause to be issued notices of meetings of the National Convention. Just to note that, I will explain why I mentioned it. So the National Secretary, it is his responsibility to issue notice of meetings of the National Convention, the NEC, the National Caucus, and the NWC. Now, in C, it says, keep or cause to be kept all records of proceedings of the National Convention, and he shall also render annual report of activities to INEC, to the NEC and the National Convention. But now, the point I'm trying to make is, the national chairman is being accused by the National Secretary that he's being sidelined. Like, how does the chairman write a letter without the secretary? Correspondences are supposed to come from the office of the secretary, who is the chief administrative officer, according to PDP constitution here that I'm reading. Now, if for some reason the national secretary feels that he's being sidelined and does not issue notice of meeting for the National Convention, do you see the National Convention holding?
If truly, according to the document that guides the operations of these principal officers of this political party, PDP, according to their own constitution, this constitution was not written for a particular person. It was written for the political party. So whoever occupies any office that in the political party and whose office is covered by the constitution of the political party must be subjected to the instructions outlined in the constitution. And now looking at it, the chairman has powers to summon a meeting, but the correspondence must come from the secretariat, the office of Mr. Secretary. And according to the constitution, that it is the secretary that we issue notice of meeting. And this is where democracy has its problem. You know, in democracy, you can't just be the sole orga, the sole boss. You must allow people play in. And that is where I'm expecting that Damagum should be democratic enough to bring Anyanwu. Though, according to your statement, that Anyanwu is demanding to co-sign every correspondence of them. Let the constitution guide both of them in this case. And I know that PDP has a legal team who should have studied this thing properly and advised these two principal officers very well. Because if administration, or according to the constitution, that the secretary should handle administrative duties of the political party, I think the legal team should be able to advise them well. Perhaps advise Damagum, advise Anyanwu, because I will not be happy that Anyanwu, of our own people, who have gone through the eyes of this PDP crisis over the years, will still be instrumental in truncating this forthcoming national convention. Because if this convention did not hold now, is it in 2026 that you hold convention? If you hold that convention in 2026, will it give you enough time to prepare your candidates for 2027 general election? So I think that every one of them should be able to play, you know, by the rules to ensure that there is collective peace in PDP and let the convention hold. Otherwise, if they continue in dragging their rights and holding high their ego, I think it will truncate that because from Anyanwu's angle, it's like Anyanwu is not interested in conducting that convention.
Why would you say he has never said anything?
No, I'm saying by
the question
his
is
demand that he should.
Looking at the crisis already that is on ground, what's going on, crisis that has extended to Cross River State, extended to Plateau State and other states, you understand, and where you're seeing states, the state working committee is dissolved, and then the National Secretary will write and say that dissolution is null and void because according to the Constitution says it has to be by the action of the NWC. And he's saying that there was no NWC directive dissolving that state committee. And also, even if NWC comes to that resolution, the NEC must ratify it. You know, when there are issues, then the Constitution is remembered.
Play.
And will now, everybody will have to go back to what the Constitution has said.
That's where I'm angry with the performances of some of our politicians in Nigeria. You claim to be this. As you are here now as a journalist, you go by the tenets of this profession. You are bound by it. And you try as much as possible to keep to that. But why is it that our politicians, sometimes when they get into offices, they will throw away the constitution that brought them into office? Because if, according to Anyanwu, that NWC never heard and does not have any, have not issued any instruction to dissolve the state NEC, I mean, a state committee, state executives. If NWC have not issued such instruction and as should be ratified by NEC, and Damagum goes ahead to do that, is he not usurping power of these other groups?
Now, that is why, as much as the fact that everybody is looking forward to this NEC, like everybody wants this NEC to happen, everybody wants PDP to, you know, close up its rank and file so that we'll have a formidable opposition marching into 2026, which is the campaign year.
Yeah.
The concern that anybody who has watched PDP break down the way it has done will be, though the National Convention Committee is working assiduously to see that this National Convention happens, I am now looking at technicalities from the National Working Committee that may stop this National Convention from happening. And then when you look at it critically, there is need for these people to close up their rank and file. And right now, the National Chairman and National Secretary appears to be at daggers drawn. The question I'm asking is, how do you see this affecting the successful
conduct
of
this
the National Convention of the PDP?
That is the call I'm making now. I'm making this call to both the National Chairman, Alhaji Umar Damagun, and Senator Samuel Ayan, the National Secretary. I'm making the appeal that for the interest of peace in the People's Democratic Party and for the interest of peace in Nigerian political circle, let every hatchet be buried. And stop dragging, let Constitution speak here now. Go back to it, you have a copy of this Constitution. Go back to it, see where your duties are outlined, and don't overstep your bound. Let the national chairman do, the acting national chairman, so to speak, do his needful. Let the secretary do his needful. Come back for the interest of this political party you claim you love. Because you can't tell me that you love PDP so much, being that PDP has given you everything you have gotten in politics, and now you are scattering it. If this convention did not hold, you have given PDP another wounded leg to step into the campaign period in 2026.
So I think at this point, do you think it's also fair for a lot of persons to accuse the APC of engineering crisis within their party? Do you think it's fair?
If the accusation is made, it remains an accusation because it cannot be substantiated in the now. Yes, truly, you know, sometimes when we look beyond the circle, we can see a strange hand playing. But we cannot say that now, because if we come to say it, we may likely be alleging.
The issues right now are constitutional issues.
Yes.
So and how then will it be? Can one accuse?
That's why we are saying.
APC?
That's why we are saying you cannot do that in the now, because the issue is constitutional issue, and you see yourselves, you know, playing down the Constitution. How will I fail to warm my soup and it goes sour that I will accuse my neighbor? So I don't understand how that would happen. So let PDP fix at least some of those constitutional issues that affect them. Let the National Working Committee call these people together and make peace. Let the NEC call them together and make peace. Let the Governors Forum call them together and make peace.
Is the National Working Committee together? The crisis now is within the National Working Committee. Do not forget that Board of Trustees already from time immemorial took sides in PDP crisis. PDP Governors Forum also took sides in the crisis. So who is going to call who?
And all of them
to call who to other when everybody...
All of them are claiming to love PDP, isn't
factionalized.
it? All of them are claiming to love PDP. If they cannot do that, let them employ the services of external forces. Yes. No, if they can, honestly, because I can accept that from our angle, if we can have a meeting, pick people from other institutions, not really from political parties. Because when you bring people from other political parties, definitely they will try to, you know, fan the fire that is already burning.
You know, there was a time, was it Abrue called on Tinubu to come and resolve the issue
in the Labour Party? How can that be? How can that be? So I
don't find that very ridiculous.
Let the PDP people fix PDP by themselves.
All right.
Because if the PDP does not fix PDP, they shouldn't expect Labour Party or ADC or even APC to come and fix PDP.
Right.
But if they feel that they'll have lagged, in fact, the crisis has degenerated to the point that they can't look at themselves face to face anymore, let them call external bodies.
Right.
Yeah, if they're from the academia or from whichever institution, call people to come and you know, make peace, reconcile you people, and have a formidable force.
I hope you understand that academia is not the same as. Have you ever had an academia as an analyst on the show? Academic politics in academic.
Then let them go to the religious body.
From real.
Yes, let them go to the religious body then.
Very well. Let's move on to the next story. African Democratic Congress has criticized President Bola Tinubu for retaining Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Uche Nnaji, despite allegations of certificate forgery. In a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, the ADC said the government's silence reflects its comfort with corruption and disregard for integrity. The party alleged that both the University of Nigeria and Soka and the National Youth Service Corps has disowned the certificates Naji presented for his appointment, describing the situation as an embarrassment to the administration's anti-corruption stance. He questioned why Naji remains in office despite admitting discrepancies in his credentials. ADC urged President Tinubu to suspend Naji and order an independent investigation, insisting that such certificate forgery is a criminal offense that must attract legal consequences. The party also called on Senate and the DSS to strengthen their screening processes to prevent future scandals among political appointees. What do you make of this story? It's also very important to note that Naji has come out to refute this statement, saying that he attended UNN, graduated from UNN. I think, and he said he graduated in 1985. I think I heard that. I saw that statement, and that he also went for youth service. So.
You know that before Uche will come out to present those certificates, he should have maybe prepared himself to defend it. But however, if UNN had come to say that they didn't issue such certificates to Uche, and NYSC is coming up also to say that the certificate Uche present. So the question should be, where did these things come from? Did Uche go to cyber cafe to print them out? If he had done so, why didn't DSS and the Senate Committee on Screening be able to find out these things? Why they screened Uche? What magic did Uche use to outsmart and pass through the little eyes, the needle eyes of EFCC during his nomination as a minister? So I believe that there is more to this, that ADC rushed out to comment and give ultimatum to Mr. President and accuse Mr. President or President of harboring corruption or things like that. I think they are too quick. Let them rather carry out external investigations on some of these claims. However, I regret to comment on this topic. Do you know why?
Why?
In APC, the issue of certificate forgery is not an offense. Because
in APC,
okay. It's not an offense, because we saw the man that contested the last election under APC. After he had gone through the INEC screening, whatever screening they needed to do, they went through all his documents. They cleared him, and he contested. I'm talking about Muhammad Buhari. It was while he was in office that issue of his disqualification came as a result of not having O-level. You know, it was an issue, but he was already elected a president. So, and the APC managed that situation. Do not ask me how they managed it, because it is a precedent I wouldn't like to be set in Nigeria. Now, that one passed. Look at the next person that came up as president. There was still issue of certificate with Chicago University and things like that. And you see how APC had managed that. So you now ask yourself, how come Senate didn't track out this Uche Naji's certificate forgery? You see that even the man that sits as the Senate president has issue with qualification to contest election that brought him to power. So when you look at all those things, I think it should be a collective reasoning for any right-thinking Nigeria to know that Bola Tinubu might not relieve Uche Naji of his appointment just because of certificate forgery. But another thing is that I want to believe that Uche Naji is not a daft. He must have read. But if there are issues with his certificates, I think it is something that even he should be able to clarify. Though he has come openly to say that the claim of UNN and NYSC is not correct. if at all, because I'm not expecting that the APC government will go to investigate that, but if ADC feels that they have concern for that, let them go and do that. Uche is my brother, but I would not say because he's my brother and ask him to continue with irregularity or do something that is wrong. If your certificate have it, you should go and clear it. That's even why I have a brother who schooled in UST here and finished and couldn't get his certificate because of 1 or 2 things that happened while in his first year. So he had to now go back to school and spend another 4 years before he could get a certificate. So if that is the problem with Uche Naji, and you see the office, the ministry is handling, Ministry of Science and Research and all that. It's not something an open-headed, or if I may say, door-headed person will handle. So if that issue of certificate is not well trashed out, well, let those who have concern follow it up. Otherwise, I would say let the man continue his work, because in the APC arrangement, such offense is not an offense. That's the way I look at it.
From the information I'm having here, they said that Uche Naji confessed in court filing, in a case he instituted against the Minister of Education, the National Universities Commission, the University of Nigeria, its Vice Chancellor, and its Registrar, and an acting Vice Chancellor, and the Senate of the university. This suit is before Justice Hawa Yilwa of the Federal High Court in Abuja, right? And, from what I am seeing here, in paragraph 12 and 13 of his 34 paragraph verifying affidavit supporting the motion, they said he made a stunning revelation accusing UNN officials of refusing to issue him a certificate. And in the process of saying this, he's confirming that he never collected one. So if the question is, if he's accusing UNN of refusing to issue him certificates, how did he obtain the certificate he presented?
That was the first question I asked.
And then in paragraph 12, he stated that the university admitted him in 1981 to study microbiology and chemistry, and that he completed the program and graduated in 1985. But paragraph 13, let me quote what he said in paragraph 13. He said that even though I am yet, just what he said. I'm not reading the entire paragraph. He said that even though I am yet to collect my certificate from the third defendant, that's UNN, due largely to the non-cooperative attitude of the third to fifth defendants, that's UNN, his Vice Chancellor and the Registrar. The third defendant issued a letter, that is UNN. The third defendant issued a letter dated 21st December 2023 to People's Gazette, attention Samuel Ogundipe, which stated amongst other things as follows. This is to confirm that Geoffrey Uchechukwu Naji with registration number 1981/30725 was admitted in 1981 to study microbiology, biochemistry in the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. Mr. Geoffrey Uchechukwu Naji graduated from the University of Nigeria in July 1985 with a Bachelor of Science in Microbiology and Biochemistry, second class, lower division. So, if he's here to collect his certificate, was it a letter he presented?
That is the question we are now asking. I raised this issue. Does it mean he picked these things from a cyber cafe? So,
but the thing is, you before the university gives you a letter, you also have statement of results.
Yes, which I believe that it wouldn't have been possible. It wouldn't have been possible if his statements of result were not collected. But because, look, I had an issue. I finished a school, a certain school I attended. I finished in, I think that is the 2020. But I had issue in that school that made me not to graduate.
The same UNN?
Not UNN.
Okay.
Yeah, another institution. That made me not to graduate that same year. So I had to come back, and before that issue occurred, already it's like they have compiled the list of the graduates. So by the next year, I came back to correct those things. Do you know that I was shocked that certificate was written, my name was written in the certificate of 2020, whereas I finished my course in 2021, and another certificate was issued. So when I saw when somebody working in the registry calls my attention to it, I say, please keep that of 2020, give me 2021, and that is what I kept. Do you see to that? So maybe this issue of discrepancies from workers and offices in our higher institution is just something else that it can frustrate a man who is fast in moving in life. So it is possible that why they delayed that of Uche might have left it and gone maybe to do whatever he needed to do. But the question I'm asking is, how did he go to service without his certificate?
You service, you can actually go to your service with statement of
with
results.
Just statement of results.
Yes.
Then why are they dragging him? If truly UNN can say this young man graduated with a Bachelor of Science, BSc, in our institution, and it is now the UNN that is keeping the certificate of this young man, and not that the young man didn't go to school or he presented his fraud. That's why I said that dealing with this issue with APC is a complex one. But Uche, yes, it's a complex one. But Uche, from the presentation he made here in court,
he never collected
the original certificate. It's still with UNN.
Yes, it's
so
let's and they are uncooperative. However, a letter was given to him. A letter was given to him which is the letter that he presented in place of the certificate. And
which means the investigating group or body should now go back to UNN, and perhaps the Ministry of Education should also force UNN to get the certificate of this young man. Does it mean it was all written as a 1985? If it was written, it must be somewhere in the office. Because these institutions do not have right or power to discard information, documents.
Now, this is the thing about that letter. He said that the letter was signed by UNN Registrar Celine Nebedum. It was sent to this investigating body in response to an inquiry, but the contents have since been invalidated. He said Mrs. Nebedum later recanted in the letter to the Public Complaints Commission in May 2025, stating that the university searched its 1985 graduation records, but could not find Mr. Nadi's name. Could not find Mr. Naji's name. Now, if this is the case, one would now say, why did she...
On what ground did she
now write the letter in the first place and later recanted? So probably there is something that is going on that Nigerians need to find out.
So, because you can't tell me that a registrar will issue a letter.
Just listen. UNN Vice Chancellor confirmed in a letter dated October 3, 2025, that Mr. Naji did not complete his studies and was never awarded a degree. So now the question is not whether he got admission into UNN.
But
from what is here, he actually did get admission. The question is, did he complete his studies? Did UNN issue him a degree to that effect?
If the Vice Chancellor has said that he actually studied with that school, I just gave you an instance here. I studied to the extent that it was just remaining either my exams or so, and I had issue. And because the school had followed my statement of results, and my name was among the graduates of 2020. But I didn't collect that because I know I didn't write the last exam, the final exam.
Well, as we round up, a senior university official told this particular newspaper, Premium Times, I will have to mention their name, that the institution investigated Mrs. Nebedum's letter, that letter that he presented in place of certificate, and concluded that it is either some people in the records office were influenced or manipulated to cover up for Naji, or it was a sincere mistake by the registry. How do you even make this kind of mistake? Now, the official also added, the truth remains that Mr. Naji never graduated from UNN. His file is intact. So he has a file. It contains details up to the point where he dropped out. Well, I think I think the thing is we will still have to, do more investigations.
Yes, there is need for further investigation, and also this should serve as an eye-opener to Nigeria universities and politicians and students too, because some students, while they are young, can just push these things with a wave of hand, and after all, I have graduated, I have gained the knowledge. Okay, you have gained the knowledge, but you need your certificate.
Right.
So with this, I think it will serve as an eye-opener to generality of the citizens.
I wish we have more time, but unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you so much for coming
on
the
very
conversation.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, our viewers. And this is where we round it up on this episode of Open Conversation. I am still Laurentia Ogu. Transition News comes up next. Do not go away.
Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we